Okay, welcome attendees. This is Friday and it is the last day, the last full day of the 2022 Pennsylvania Black Health Matters Conference. And today is Earth Day. So what better way to start off Earth Day with a fabulous tour of the Deaver Farm.
What's that?
Out at Lincoln.
Okay.
So we have before us today Zach and Brea and Maureen, and they are going to start this session off. If you have any questions, be sure to place them in the chat. They'll try to address them either through the presentation or some space will be reserved at the end of the presentation. This is also being recorded. So if you don't catch it all or want to come back and watch it later, it will be available for on demand, and it will also be uploaded to the new YouTube channel being launched next week, Disrupt and Build Up. And I will now hand it over to the folks over at Deaver Farm.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Lankenau Medical Center, home of the Deaver Wellness Farm. My name is Maureen Krause. Happy Earth Day 2022. I'm the manager of our Community Health and Outreach Department here, which has the Deaver Health Education Center and the Deaver Wellness Farm, which is celebrating its 6th anniversary today. So we're very, very excited. Yes, we are on the grounds of the hospital. We apologize for any backgrounds during our presentation. The Deaver Wellness Farm was established through the generosity of donors, and it allowed Lankenau to establish it and as an outreach to our health education center, which provides school children with hands-on learning experiences about healthy living, and with the farm, good healthy eating and nutrition. The Deaver Wellness Farm additionally produces over 4,800 pounds of food yearly that is distributed to our patients in need. Now, thank you for having me, and I'm going to turn it over to our experts from Greener Partners, Brea and Zach, to give you a tour of the farm and tell you a little bit more about it. And please ask them your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maureen. And thank you, virtual audience, for joining us today. We're really excited to have such a lovely day to celebrate not only the Black Health Matters Conference, but also, like Maureen said, Earth Day and the 6th anniversary of Deaver Wellness Farm. Since 2016, the farm has served as a living laugh source for learners of all ages to investigate and discover the interdependencies between healthcare and farming ecosystems. Since the beginning, the farm has hosted a many number of school groups and summer camps, many of which return to the farm each season to allow a new class of students to enjoy the same learning experiences. Not only do school groups get hands-on experience here at the farm, but also residents get the opportunity to come out and work with Zach and I, get their hands dirty for 2 weeks, and at the same time talk about nutrition and diet and how those things relate to healthy crops and soil. I think I speak for the both of us when I say that positive reflections that we get from time spent on the farm is definitely one of the highlights of our work here. The produce that's grown here helps address the food insecurity and chronic disease needs, management needs of our most vulnerable patients. And so we're really proud to be a part of one of the only hospitals in the nation to take this very progressive step in healthcare. As Maureen mentioned, we average about 5,000 pounds of food each year at the farm. So this year we are looking at almost 30,000 pounds of food that's been produced here since the beginning, production in 2016. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Zach now, who's going to take us on a tour of the farm, walk you through some of our raised beds, talk about what we're excited about for the season, what's currently growing, and show you some of our systems and processes for providing programming and food here on site. From there, we'll have a cooking demonstration, and then after that, we'll have time for any other lingering questions that you all might have about the space or our work or even your home gardens and plants at home. So thank you so much. And Zach, are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much, Brea.
Great.
Let's head into the farm. All right, so welcome to the farm. On the farm, we have two types of crops growing. We have annual plants that we have to plant each year, and then we have perennial plants that we plant once and they come back year after year after year. So when you first enter into our space, we have the sensory garden, which is a space that has plants that smell good, that look good, that have sounds and textures. And so you can see our perennial plants are starting to come right back. And then we'll be adding annual plants to these beds in a little while. We're still growing those in the greenhouse. So we have some lemon oregano that smells really, really good. I wish we could transport smells through the iPad, but unfortunately we cannot. So we have this lemon oregano. We have chamomile, like what you might use for chamomile tea. The flowers of this are used for chamomile tea. Then we have some lavender here. Another great smelling plant. This is great. You can clip it and dry it and then use it to add nice fresh smell to your homes, your closets. It's great use. And then we also have some sage here. Another great plant that smells really, really great. Another perennial plant. And so one of the great things about perennial plants is they're very easy to take care of once you get them established. Since they come back year after year after year, they usually have very strong roots and don't require as much watering or fertilizer, things like that. So if you're looking for an easy plant to grow at home, a perennial is a great way to start. You can put one in a pot in a sunny window or out on your steps in front of your house or on your porch. In a nice pot, and that's a great way to have a nice plant at home that doesn't take as much work to grow. Yeah, we have a question. Do we what? Yes, great question. Thanks for asking. So this space is open to the public. So sometimes we have doctors and nurses and other members of the staff at the hospital will come and take lunch here or take a break here and walk around. And then we do also have some patients will come out to the farm to get a break from being in the hospital, or a family member or someone who's a caregiver for someone who's in the hospital who wants to come out and get a little fresh air while the patient's getting tests and things. Also, people from the neighborhood. We have an apartment building nearby. We have families with kids that will come. This is a space that's open to the public, and it's a space that's enjoyed by a diverse group of people that are in the area. So we have some more perennial plants here growing in our herb garden. We have some chives, and some lemon balm. So the chives, these are chives. These are perennial plants. It's a really great plant to grow at home. It's something you can add flavor to like roasted vegetables or even some soups and things like that. And so you could put this in a pot outside, and you'll be able to have this grow easily at home. All right. So over here, we have our scallions growing. They're part of the onion family. I like to use scallions when I make a stir fry. After you finish the stir fry, I like to put some raw scallions on top. They're really delicious, adds a really great flavor. And you might notice on this bed, we have some straw here. This straw is a mulch that helps keep the moisture in the ground and also prevents weeds from growing. So we use straw and sometimes wood chips as a mulch to help our plants grow and prevent weeds. And this space over here is our education garden. So as we were saying earlier, this space is used by classes and camp groups come to the farm, and the education garden space is a space for the kids to get their hands dirty. So this is the area where they can help us transplant plants, or direct seed, or harvest. This is an opportunity for them to get that hands-on learning, in addition to other learning that we do on the farm, where we'll talk about how plants grow and the whole process of starting from a seed to a plant. So we have lots of different lessons, and in addition to the lessons, we have a hand-on opportunities for children from schools and camp groups to get their hands dirty on the farm. And here we have some radishes. So at the beginning of the season, here in the spring, we are growing our greens and our root vegetables. So we have our radishes and turnips and beets and carrots that are growing. And I like to eat these raw. They sometimes have a little spice to them. You put them on a salad, they're really delicious. All right, and now we're coming up to our compost bin. So this is our 3-bin composting system. So composting allows us to take what some people consider waste material, like parts of the plants that you don't eat, like carrot tops or stems and things like that, and turn it back into nutritious soil, our compost for our plants to put in our beds to help our plants grow. And so for our compost, we have a mix of what we call our browns, which are our carbon, which is dried leaves and sticks and sawdust, things like that. And then our greens, which are nitrogen heavy things like grass clippings or the parts of the plant you don't eat, our food scraps, things like that. And then we want a ratio of about 3 to 1 with the carbon, 3 carbon to 1 nitrogen. And then we also have air coming through here. We have a fan system that puts air through here. And so some people will turn the compost by having air. We don't have to turn it as much. And that allows for the different microbes, bacteria, fungi, worms, things like that to grow and be able to turn all that material back into very nutritious compost. And yeah, you can compost at home. You don't have to have a fancy 3-bin system like this. You can buy a single bin system, or you can even just create a pile using chicken wire. You can put some chicken wire to keep animals out and just create a pile in your yard. Or if you don't have an outdoor space, there's some places that will pick up your compost, some towns and cities. And there's some companies here in Philadelphia. We have Bennett Compost and Circle Compost that will come and pick up your compost weekly. And there's also vermicomposting, which uses worms you can do inside with a bin with red wiggler worms. So there's lots of ways you can compost at home if that's something you're interested in doing. Again, try to repeat that answer. So again, patients get to come out here. So staff from the hospital come out here, and sometimes patients come out here, and people in the neighborhood come out. This is space open to the public, so we get a wide group of different people that come and enjoy the space. It's a great break from being inside the hospital to get some fresh air and get to smell all our great plants. And then when we have flowers, to see all the different flowers, it's a really great space to relax in. But does the compost smell? So yeah, that's a great question. So compost will have a earthy smell, but if you start to get a funky smell, that means it's not composting correctly. So it can go aerobiotic, which means there's not enough air, and so you start to get bad bacteria growing in there, and it'll smell pretty bad. But if you have a good mix of compost going, it won't smell bad. It'll smell kind of like earthy smell. So over here is our arugula, which we'll be using a little later in a recipe. So arugula is a green. You eat the leaf. It's high and it has iron and calcium in it. It has kind of a spicy. Oh no, okay, sorry. It's kind of a spicy flavor to it. Got a little bit of a kick. I enjoy. Sometimes I put it on a pizza. It tastes pretty good on a pizza or on salads. So it's a great way to add some flavor and some nutrition to your food. And later we'll be using it to make a pesto. right? And so the springtime is a period of transition here on the farm, the spring and the fall. So you'll notice some beds have things growing in them, and some beds are currently empty. We've taken the weeds out, we've turned the soil, and we're getting them ready to plant things in. And a couple of beds might still have weeds in it as we're still preparing for our full season. Within a month, all these beds will have things growing in them. And over here is our salad mix. So this is a variety of different kinds of lettuce that are growing. And once they grow a bit bigger, we'll harvest them and they can be used as a base for a salad. So we took it out so you could see our crops, but we use this insect netting as a way to prevent pests on the farm. So we don't use pesticides. So instead we use this material here that goes over these hoops, and it keeps insects out, especially when we're just starting to grow. As you can see, the kale, these leaves are really small. So if you had insects come and start munching on these, it could kill the entire plant. Whereas once the plants get a bit larger, they're not as risk of severe damage from insects. So this is our kale bed. This is one of our kale beds. This is kale abration, which is a mix of different varieties of kale together. And it can be used, you can use it cooked or you can eat it raw. And kale is has lots of iron in it. It's a great to snack on. You can also make kale chips. That's my favorite way to eat kale, is kale chips, where you put the kale in a low temperature oven, like 200, 250 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes. And you get the crispy, delicious kale. It's great. Sprinkle some cheese or nutritional yeast or spices on it. And it's a great healthy snack while you're watching a movie. Oh yeah, that is a great question. So we do have animal visitors that sometimes come to our farm. We have a fence. So the tall fence here keeps our deer out, and then lower down we have it reinforced. So you can see we have it reinforced lower down, and then we also have it going out on the ground a few feet as a way to keep different pests from coming into the farm. Especially groundhogs are some of our trickiest ones to keep out because they can dig down deep and then come up. So we're hoping by having the fence go out far, we can keep groundhogs out of our farm. So yeah, mainly using fencing to keep animals out of the farm. Now we're gonna head over to the greenhouse. So this here is our greenhouse. So the greenhouse uses both sunlight, and we also have a heating unit in there, and it allows us to start our season earlier and have it go longer. So we started seeds in the greenhouse in the mid-February when the ground out here was still frozen. So if we were to put the seeds out here, they wouldn't grow. And so by using the greenhouse, we're able to start the seeds earlier, and that we're able to get an extra almost month or month and a half of growing time as we transplant the plants outside once it's warm enough out. It also allows us to do successions, which means we could start our next crop, and then when we harvest a crop that's in a bed, like the salad mix, we have a crop ready to go right in that bed. So the greenhouse is a great way to up our production, the amount and also the time that we're able to grow things here on the farm. Leaving. So these are some of the seeds we are starting in the greenhouse. So in the greenhouse, we control the temperature and ventilation. We have a heating unit when it gets really cold. But right now it's a nice warm day, so the sun comes through the sunlight gets trapped in the plastic, kind of like when you're in a hot car. And we also have these vents over here that open automatically. We have a temperature gauge, so the vents and fans and heating unit will all turn on based on temperature. And then for watering, we have a sprinkler system here that is on a timer that sends out mist to keep our plants watered. And so we're able to start our seeds in here. We have some beans here that will be going out, transplanted soon. And then we have some tomatoes over here. We have some cherry tomatoes and some slicer tomatoes. Tomatoes are a tropical plant. They like it really hot and really sunny. So we actually have underneath these, we have a heating pad that keeps them warm because they really like the hot temperature. So we're able to start the tomatoes in here. And then once it's warm enough and sunny enough outside, we'll be able to bring them outside and have delicious tomatoes. All right. And so over here, I just wanted to show a couple examples of how you could make like a greenhouse at home. So this is a big Ziploc bag, and I just have these are containers you can usually actually find for free because plant centers, places, garden centers will sell plants in these containers, and usually people are usually giving them away. So you can usually find these containers for free. So you can fill them up with a starting mix, soil mix, and put some seeds in there. And then you can water it and put it in a big plastic bag like this. I wouldn't close it all the way because you want some air to be able to get in. You can already see there's moisture already in here from that. So this will keep the plants warm and keep them nice and moist. They'll start to grow. A fun mini greenhouse you can make with kids is with a smaller Ziploc bag and a wet paper towel and some beans. It works best if you soak the beans overnight. So you can soak the beans overnight, a moist paper towel, put a few beans in here and put it on a sunny window with a piece of tape. And it's a great way for kids to observe, come back each day and observe and see if it's growing. So that's another way to do a mini greenhouse at home. And you can also even use plastic containers like this if you poke some holes in the bottom and a few in the top and fill it up with soil and some seeds and put the top on and put it in a sunny window. Have a mini greenhouse. If you want to make a larger mini greenhouse like outside, you can actually find, if someone's giving away an aquarium, you can put the aquarium on its side and put plants in there in containers and put like saran wrap or some other plastic on the open side. And that's a great way to have a quick and easy mini greenhouse at home. All right, and now we're gonna head over to our washing station where we're gonna get a demonstration of what we do after we harvest our produce on the farm.
Great. Awesome. So, awesome tour. Yes, that's what we have going on the garden right now for spring. Now, we won't do a full harvest demonstration. I did already pre-harvest some arugula earlier just to speed things along, but I'll talk through what the process would ordinarily look like. Typically with our greens in particular, like arugula, spinach, even our large kale and collards, our chard, things like that, we'll want to give those a wash for sure before we package that up and distribute that out to the patients. So once we would harvest the arugula from the field, we would bring it over in our harvest bins and give it away. We always notate our weights, that way we can keep up with whether or not we're meeting those 5,000 pounds a year marks in terms of production. Once things are weighed, we bring it back here to our wash station. What that looks like for us here isn't anything too high tech. We use large dunk tanks. Depending on how many washes we're doing in a particular day, we'll either use a small one or one of our larger ones. We'll fill those up with water, and also use a disinfectant level peroxide. That's what we want to use for making sure we kill any of those pathogens that might exist as we're bringing things in from the field. We also want to use our test strips to make sure we're meeting the parts per million, make sure we're using the right ratios of disinfectant, so that way we're giving out good, clean crops to people. From there, once things are stored once things are dunked in our dunk tank for at least 30 seconds with that disinfectant level peroxide, we'll come out, we'll make sure they drain, that way things aren't holding excess water. We'll package it up all out here, and from there it goes into our cooler to be stored until we're ready to distribute it out to the patients. I'm going to grab the pre-harvested arugula that I got this morning. And this is our cooler, just a shed that we've modified to make it into a nice fridge. And so this is what we'll use for our cooking demonstration. Okay, and so today we're going to make pumpkin seed pesto. Traditionally, pesto will have pine nuts, right? Or walnuts even sometimes, but that knocks it out of the park for anyone who might have a nut allergy. They won't get to enjoy pesto. So as an alternative, pumpkin seeds are great to use. You get the nuttiness of the seed, and at the same time the nutrition also that you get from the seed without having to deal with the nut aspect. So that's what we'll do today. I wanted to I thought this would be a great recipe because yes, we do have arugula up right now. The other ingredients are pretty easy to come by generally throughout the year. And this is also a great recipe to do with kids. We're going to use a food processor just to speed things up, but if you happen to have a mortar and pestle at home, that's also a really great way to get the kids involved in the kitchen. Everything just gets mushed together, so that's awesome. So I will put it together. I pre-measured out most things here. It's pretty simple. I have a half cup of unsalted pumpkin seeds here. So those will go in the food processor first. And let's see, I have our 2 cups of arugula, 2 cups for this recipe. Only 2 cups, obviously more or less depending on your taste. We're using arugula, but you could also obviously use basil. Other herbs that are great could be the chives that Zach had pointed out earlier, or even chard, even some of the kale. Just anything that's going to give you that nice green base will be really good to use. So I'll open this. And we'll get that in there. Whoa. Okay. Something like that. Right. And we'll also use a half cup of olive oil. You'll want to use your extra virgin olive oil for this. This is one of those times, where you'll want to use that. For this particular recipe, I'm using some olive oil I infused at home with some herbs, infused with garlic and herbs, garlic and thyme. It's a really great way, in lieu of using this on a dressing or something like that. I'm going to use it in here just to add another layer of flavor to the pesto. Pesto can be really versatile this way. So that's one of the ways then. We'll throw in the cheese, the Parmesan cheese, grated, shredded, however you like. toss that in. Have a little of both today. We'll do the garlic. Garlic as well is key part of the pesto. If I were doing this in my mortar and pestle, I might grate it first. I might grate the garlic into the mortar and pestle and then chop it around with the rest of the ingredients. But since we're using the food processor, I'll just give this a light chop and toss these in that way, like that. And lastly, we'll want to go with a little pinch of salt. A quarter teaspoon less to taste. Also, salt, pepper, other little things like that. Again, versatile that way pesto is. So there we have it. And now we'll close this up and we'll push it down. Is that okay? All right. And where's the button? I didn't practice this part. Do you happen to know? Don't know where the button is. Oh wait. No. We just turn it to make. Just a little technical, just making sure. Now I suddenly don't know how the food processor works.
Please stand by.
We're getting there, folks. Maybe. Doesn't quite want to cooperate for us here. Might have to use the mortar and pestle. Okay, there we are. And so, perhaps. Oh. Okay, well, the idea would be get us up here and we would have pesto to show. But for some reason, our lock is it's not wanting to do that. There's something clicked there. Okay, well, not quite sure what it wants from us here, but yeah, we could always use the mortar and pestle, which might have been the better alternative here today. But at any rate, I already just mixing the ingredients. It smells great. Once everything is combined really well, it's going to be a nice chunky texture, and that's going to be really good for sandwiches or crackers or pizza or anything you could imagine putting it on. And it holds up in the fridge well for about a week. either in an airtight container for a week, or if you make enough that you can freeze it, it goes well into freezer bags that can be separated with the back of a spoon or fork into nice cubes and stored flat in the freezer for whenever you're ready to cook with. Yeah, so sorry we won't get to sample this for you on camera, but I'm not quite sure why it doesn't want to set in place for us. But we will certainly have it to enjoy whenever we do figure it out. Oh!
Don't do that at home.
Oh, do not do at home. But that's what we're looking for, this nice chunky texture here. All right, perfect. Yeah, that is it. And yeah, that smells amazing. Thank you so much for that, Zach. And now to open it. I think we might have muscled it on now. Okay, and did I hear we had questions? When can you plant tomatoes outside? Generally, you want to definitely wait until after the last frost date for your area. And since here, I think it's typically Mother's Day. Mother's Day is the time to plant them outside. After that time, any chance of a nightly frost has passed by that point. A nightly frost will definitely not be great for the tomatoes. And yeah, for the most part, your daytime temperatures are going to be warm enough that they're going to have a nice long time to grow. So yeah, anytime after Mother's Day, I would say, is a pretty safe time to plant the tomatoes. Any others? The lid's stuck now. Yeah, from here, we would love to take any time that we have left to answer more of your questions about, your home gardens, this space, our programs, or anything else that might be lingering for you all out there. Thank you. And yeah, we're going to sample this as well, I think. So yeah, fire away with questions in the chat for us.
What are your hours and days that you're open?
Hours and days? We're here Monday through Friday, and we'll say hours 9 to 3. 9 to 3 is generally a good time for visitors to come. We're here around those hours as well, but 9 to 3 is the best time to engage with us here on site.
How is it?
Mm-hmm. That's good, yeah. That's good.
Is there a cost to
There's no cost to visit the farm. There's no cost to visit the farm for schools or visitors. And you don't. If you're interested in school programming, there is a phone number you should call. I believe that might be in one of our links to our website there. You can visit our website, and that should have our phone numbers listed for how you can come for programming.
Yeah, we'd love to have you, whether you're coming with a school group or coming by yourself or friends just to explore the space. We always love to have visitors. I like Brussels sprouts and broccoli, which are both related. They're both Brassica on the same plant family. I like to With the Brussels sprouts, I like to roast them. I also roast broccoli, but I also like to do stir fries with the broccoli. So yeah, broccoli and Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, my favorite vegetables to grow, maybe I like turnips, beets, the root veggies, those sort of things. The quick root veggies of the spring and fall. A lot of fun.
What's the easiest vegetable to grow for beginners?
The kale, you think?
Yeah, there are a number of vegetables that can be pretty easy for the starting grower. Definitely, yeah, your brassicas, your kale, your salad mixes are going to be really easy. And also your your radishes, turnips, things like that. They're going to be pretty easy too. They're quick. They're very fast. They only take about 21 days. The radishes in particular. So that can be really satisfying to see. They germinate within about 3 days, and then yeah, you have something before the end of a month. But definitely soft greens, soft leafy greens.
With the kale and the greens, you can even grow those in a container pretty easily. If you have like a big pot outside, you can grow them outside easily without having to have like an actual putting them in the ground or having a raised bed. Any other questions, comments, concerns? You can do some herbs like in a windowsill. So like basil you could do, and if you have like a very sunny windowsill, you can do like basil and some other herbs. You think?
Yeah, herbs are going to be some of the easier things. It will be a little challenging to get nice, strong veggies inside, but definitely, yeah, your parsley, cilantro, dill, basil, oregano, such like that. Those could fare on a nice sunny windowsill really well if you have that. Container gardening in pots, yeah. You can do so much with that, and you can do multiple plants in a similar pot, in the same pot, different plants in the same pot, one that maybe trails and one that stands upright.
Yeah, I've seen like tomatoes in the middle with like a metal trellis, and then you can have like kale or greens around the outer edge. I've done beans too in a pot, like in a big one. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can grow in containers, and you can use like found containers. You don't necessarily have to buy anything, any special container to do it. You usually just want to make sure there's holes for drainage, so you can either drill or like use a nail to poke holes in the bottom, whatever container you want to use. Yeah.
Reduce, reuse, recycle where you can.
Yeah, it's Earth Day. Any other good questions coming through?
We'd like to mention again that much of all the structures and systems that Zach has pointed out and shown to you today would not be possible without the gracious donations from donors that have helped make this farm possible. So definitely want to give thanks and appreciation to those folks who help make this possible for us every season. Yeah. Okay.
Do herbs survive better in water or better in growing it?
I think definitely soil. They'll want the nutrients that unless you're I'm not sure what kind of hydroponic system you might have, but unless you're feeding that water with a lot of nutrients that the roots are able to uptake in a hydroponic setting, I think you'll find a little more success with having them in a soil medium. Herbs are not as particular as some other crops, so they can tolerate being planted in clay sometimes. I've seen herbs prospering really well in some really hard conditions, some really hard soil conditions. So I would say, yeah, definitely soil versus water for them.
Fresh herbs are much more flavorful than the dried herbs. You have grab a pinch and throw it right in. It's just something just great to have in your kitchen.
Hi guys, thank you so much. That was a fantastic tour of the farm. And I'm so glad that we were able to start off Earth Day out there. Zach, Brea, and I guess Maureen might still be in the background. I want to thank you guys for getting this all together. We did display the recipe a couple of times, but we will also upload the recipe to the profile link. So if you either check Zach's or Brea's speaker profile, we'll put the recipe for the pesto out there probably within the next hour or so. And so you guys aren't on camera anymore. I don't see you guys, but I see the beautiful green space. But I guess you're still there. There you are. Okay. So for those that are watching at home, if you're watching on Facebook, this is being recorded. Thank you so much for all those folks that are actually watching on Facebook and actually entered in some comments. Thank you so much. And please be sure to either check back with the conference. You can watch this on demand, or you can view it on our new YouTube channel being launched next week. Disrupt and Build Up, so you can share it with your friends because it's a great presentation. I hope that people go out there because I didn't even realize it was free, so that is fantastic. I actually had someone text me before this started asking about coming and how could they have come to this session. I said, oh, you know what, this one was more of a private session, but it is definitely open to the public. So I'm glad that you shared that with folks. It is free. They're open throughout the week. And Girl Scout troops, I'm a Girl Scout leader, so that resonated with me. So we will be out there and come visit you guys. So thank you so much. And you guys have a very, very beautiful Earth Day.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicole. We really appreciate all your help with this.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.